Hello, everyone, and welcome into another episode of Conversations with Chris and Cameron. And I believe this is episode 16. So we've been grinding now 16 episodes. How are you doing, though, Cameron? Can you believe we're 16 episodes in?
Man, we're rolling. 16 in now. But I'm doing great. Hope you're doing well. It's been a fun week. We're fans of an undefeated football team, so that's something to be happy about. We have a big one this week, so happy to jump on. Always fun doing the podcast. 16 in now, so let's get
Yep,
it.
16 in. We were supposed to have another guest this week, but sadly, they stopped responding back to us, so we're a little disappointed with that. But of course, they're athletes. They were former athletes at UK, so they don't have to give us the time of the day if they don't want to. So a little disappointed in that, but like I wish that player, the former player, the best of luck going forward with his future and everything, and hopefully we can have a different guest. Or the same guest that was supposed to be on our podcast this week, next week, we'll see. But we're going to continue to hit up former Kentucky football athletes and hopefully get them onto our podcast.
Yeah, this one will be fun. I know we'll probably get him at some point. So,
Hmm.
uh,
Yeah.
yeah, it'll be a fun one. Stinks we couldn't get it done, but there's just some scheduling problems, and
Mhm.
but it happens. We'll
Yeah.
get him on at some point.
Yeah, we don't want to, of course, throw anybody underneath the bus, so we won't name the player or anything. But also in other news, I got a haircut today, and the place where I get my haircut at Great Clips, they moved to a different location, and my haircut was only $5 today, so I was happy about that.
Oh, that's pretty sweet. That's the Kirk Cousins spot right there. Great
Kirk
clips.
Cousins spot. What do you mean?
Yeah. That's like his place. If you watch the quarterback documentary, he was like, man, great clips. He was like he was like traveling around like an NFL athlete. There's like different locations. So he's like, I've never had just one consistent barber, but there's great clips in every city I go to. So he was
Uh,
like, that's my spot.
yeah.
So yeah, that's why it's the Kirk Cousins spot.
The more you know, but yeah, like I said, $5 haircut. The only reason why they're charging that is because they just moved to a new place and they're trying to do a deal. So I'm like, $5 for my haircut today. I'll gladly take that.
Oh yeah, $5 for a haircut. So nice. And
Yeah.
that's cheap.
But now to get into what we're talking about for our podcast, we're going to be previewing the Ole Miss game, but also talking about recapping the Toledo game. I mean, like I said, I was a little nervous watching that game. Of course, UK won 24 to 16, but Toledo kept it close for the most part throughout the game. And I'm like, every time I thought UK had the win, Toledo would score another touchdown, keep it close. I'm like, what is going on?
Yeah, they did hang in there for a while, but I honestly like not even saying this hindsight, I do feel like we like there was never a moment where I was like, dang, bro, like we're gonna lose to Toledo. Like the 10-2 was like scaring me for a while because like
Uh-huh.
we can't score. All it's gonna take is them scoring and they're gonna get rolling. But it did feel like to me at least there was never a moment where I was like, oh, I'm worried we're about to drop this game to Toledo. But they did hang in there. Like you said, they kept scoring and we could never get it to a consistent like two score game at all. So but they put up a fight. That's a good Toledo team. But we got the dub.
Yeah, I was watching the game with my girlfriend as we're walking like through Chicago, through downtown. Like I think we were at the pier at that time, while I was watching the game, and then we went up to the Bean, so that was cool. And then
Wait, you were in Chicago this past weekend?
yeah, I was in Chicago. Basically, we were there because her aunt bought concert tickets to see the Lumineers, which was pretty
I
cool.
saw that. I saw that you went. That's awesome.
Yeah, so I was in Chicago this past weekend. Of course, I watched the game in full while my girlfriend was driving us back home. So that was nice at first. So I watched the game in, complete fulls to be able to break down the game as well.
Yeah, that Chicago. Was that your first time going to Chicago?
Now, I've been there before. I think the last time I went there was back in middle school on a trip with the school. So I've been there before, but it's been a long time, like over a decade for sure.
I love that city so much.
Yeah.
I've been there twice. And it's shockingly not that far. Like we drove one time, flew one time, but I was there for the Kentucky Kansas game where Rob went off. Kevin McCullough for Kansas had a triple double. But
Sadly,
yeah, I was there for that game. Yeah, that was a sad loss. But that city is awesome. I
yeah.
could not recommend. It's like I've been to New York. I'll go to New York this year. Like New York's awesome, but Chicago is like New York without the annoyance of like this crazy traffic.
Yeah.
Just like I love Chicago. I'll always recommend
Yeah,
that
there's
city.
still a lot of traffic though in Chicago, and then of course you can't street park and you have to pay for parking. That's my only complaint about Chicago because my girlfriend and I think we spent probably $120 on parking in Chicago just for 2 days, which is insane to think about.
Yeah, see, I did learn. We went with a friend and we flew. Taking the train, like taking the subway, is just the way to go. That's just it makes it so nice.
Yeah, and then we stayed at my girlfriend's brother's place, and his place, even though it is small, it's nice. I didn't go to his last place where he stayed at. Apparently, it was a lot smaller compared to his current apartment, but I really did enjoy his new apartment, and we were able to watch, games in his living room on a projector, so we were watching games through that, and it was cool to see also Lee Corso's last pick before we start to, start walking downtown Chicago and visiting the city and everything.
Yeah, yeah, that was a an awesome game day. Did you have any like Chicago pizza while you were there?
No, so you know how sometimes you can go into like a cafeteria where it has all these different places to eat and everything?
Yeah.
Well, we went to this pizza place called Frankie's. It was more New York style, I feel like. It wasn't, deep crust and everything. Um, the pizza was all right at Frankie's. I mean, if you want to go check it out, I would, but obviously it wasn't the best pizza place I've ever gone to.
Yeah, the first time I ever had Chicago like style was in Chicago, and I mean I'm not a huge fan of it, but it's one of those things that like when I go to Chicago, I just have to have it. Like,
Yeah.
yeah, I wouldn't get it here, but when I'm on the road, go to Chicago, I'll
Yeah.
always try to get that. But yeah, Chicago's awesome. I didn't realize that's where you were seeing that concert. I saw y'all went to the Lumineers though, but
Yeah.
that's cool. Chicago's a
Yeah.
cool spot.
And I didn't expect the stadium to be as packed. Like, I didn't know the Lumineers had so many fans, but they do. Of course, I knew their songs, but I was
Where
at
were they? Was it United Center?
Soldier Field.
Oh, they were at Soldier Field. That's
Yeah.
sick. That's
Yeah.
awesome.
And then apparently a couple days before that, Oasis performed there. I'm like, Oasis performed there. I wanted to see them
Really.
instead.
And yeah, that's crazy. That'd have been a cool back to back for concerts. But
Yeah.
Soldier Field would be a cool place to see a concert for
Yeah.
sure.
Apparently they had like 4 or 5 concerts straight at Soldier Field. It was
Huh.
crazy.
I bet the people that live in Chicago were loving that though.
Yeah. Or
They probably
some
got some
people
traffic, but
or some people hating it.
yeah, some people maybe were hating that, but
Yeah.
uh, yeah, I bet the youth of Chicago was loving that, just getting to go see just these concerts back to
Yeah.
back to back and all that.
Yeah, I haven't heard some of them. Like one of my friends from college, I forgot who he saw, but he was like, the band I saw, they were more popular in like the early 2000s. I'm like, the more you know.
Yeah. Yeah, no, Chicago's awesome. But like you said, Lee Corso's final pick, that was awesome. I'm not gonna lie, I got choked up.
Yeah.
I cried a little bit. I watched the like Lee Corso like documentary or whatever,
Mhm.
the Not So Fast My Friend special or whatever. I watched that the night before. I watched that Friday, right after the Baylor Auburn game and the Georgia Tech Colorado. Like, so that one had me choked up a little bit.
Yeah.
But then the game day pick, man, like it was literally just like a Lee Corso like special. So like
Yeah.
from 9 to 12, they brought Chris Fowler back to go
Uh,
talk about memories and stuff. It was so cool, but it had me just choked up a little bit. I was like, man, this
yeah.
has been my childhood right here, and he's just
Well,
gone.
watching the 6 to 7 minute video that ESPN posted like the weekend before his final,
Yeah,
college game day pick, that's what took me up. Like once his family started to talk, and then of course at the end, Kirk Herbstreit, like just seeing his family and then Kirk Herbstreit crying, like those are the, moments I choked up watching that video.
yeah, those were the pulling on the heartstrings moments for sure. That little clip, I had watched that, and then that was also in the Lee Corso like documentary. So I was like, oh no, like I
Yeah.
was like, man, I'm about to just bawl like a baby. But yeah, seeing the family talk about him, like his
Mhm.
son was like, I look forward to like spending more time with you, like post career or whatever. You've been a great dad or whatever. And then
Mhm.
they're like the grandkids, like I was like, man. And then yeah, it gets to Kirk, and it was just,
Yeah.
just yeah, you couldn't hold it in.
I can't believe he got every pick right that he chose though. Like that's
I
the
know.
main part to me. Like
He couldn't have gone out better. Like you said, every pick he got right, and all his former teams won. Like
yeah, just like
crazy.
Yeah, I mean, Lee Corso, you're the GOAT. A lot of people look up to him and everything. He won't, of course, probably watch or listen to this podcast, but just,
Yeah.
Lee Corso has been around forever. And everybody has watched him growing up for sure. If you're a kid and now, an adult, or if you've been an adult for a while and now, having kids or, grandkids, you've always watched Lee Corso for sure growing up.
Yeah, no, he was definitely one that I loved, like growing up. Like there was in that documentary, even on game day a little bit, there was just like flashbacks to like the old, I mean, I call it old, but like the 2010, early 2010s, like game days. Then I was like, man, like this is like, it like took me back to like 8-year-old me just watching these dudes. So it was cool. And then on my own personal podcast, I was doing it with this pencil for Lee in honor of Lee in the last one. So like on that day, I was like, man, Lee Corso, what a grand finale for that man. What
Yeah.
just legend.
Yeah, and just speaking a little bit more about Lee Corso, and then we can get back to our main discussion, Kentucky football. But I was so surprised that he chose Florida State over Alabama. Like that was one of the picks. I'm like, wow. I'm like, you're really going with Florida State over Alabama. Of course, he was right. And then the other pick, I was surprised that he chose Ohio State over Texas. And I'm like, those both SEC schools I would have chosen over, FSU or Ohio State.
Yeah, the Texas Ohio State one would have been close. I think I definitely would have leaned Bama before, but
Yeah.
yeah, he had to though. It was his first love, Brutus. He had to
Alma
put
mater.
that head on for sure. And then Florida State being his alma mater, like that
Yeah,
was yeah,
alma
he
mater.
had to
Florida State.
had
Yeah,
to pick them.
he had to,
But
and I think he was the only person that chose Florida State over Alabama. Everybody
yep,
had Alabama, so just crazy
yeah,
to think about.
yeah. No, Lee Corso went out in the only way possible for him to go out. It's absolute legend. So,
Yeah,
yeah, it was the right way for him to ride off into the sunset for sure.
yeah. But enough talking about Lee Course, so let's get back on track and talk about Kentucky football with recapping the win against Toledo. And as we were mentioning before, I mean, do you think fans should feel relieved or worried after this game?
I think it's definitely a mix of both, but I think there should be more relief because like the biggest worry from June was like, are we going to win this game? Like,
Yeah.
if we lose this game, is Stoops fired after week one? Like that was the talk all
Mhm.
summer. Once people realized like we're not playing just some cupcake right away, so I think there should be more relief. Like you got through the game. The defense looked incredible. Obviously, the scoreboard they ended up with
Yeah.
16, so it doesn't look as good as what they actually were. But I think it should be more relief, though. I
Mhm.
was very relieved. Obviously, there's more to be desired for the offense, but I was very pleased with the outcome, though. I'll be honest.
Yeah, I mean, also Toledo, they were getting AP votes in the first week. I'm like, how is that even possible, for them to get votes? And probably if they did defeat Kentucky, they would have probably been in the AP top 25, if not very close to, getting in it.
Yeah, yeah, no doubt. I mean, like you said, like they were receiving votes. There was only like 3 or 4 G5 teams from what I remember, like Memphis, Jack or no, Louisiana Lafayette, Toledo, and then James Madison, who goes to Louisville this week. I think that's kind of an under the radar game. So hopefully they drop that game to James Madison. That'd be the funniest outcome. But yeah, Toledo's a legit team. Like they're very good. So I think it was a good victory for sure.
Yeah, and I wouldn't be surprised if Toledo goes, 10-2 again this upcoming year. Like, have a great record, 9-3, 10-2.
You know who they play next?
Who they play WKU, don't they?
Yeah, I was about to say your tops. They play your
Yeah.
tops next.
That'll be an interesting game. Like, whew, WKU's offense will go crazy. Like, I would not be surprised if their offense goes crazy again.
Yeah, I want to say that they're like Toledo's like a touchdown or a little bit more favorite, but like I feel like WKU's got a fighting chance. Maverick McIver has been
Yeah,
amazing for the tops. Like
I'm like,
he's looked so good.
I'm like, why can't UK have this type of offense?
I know. Yeah, just still Hilton from down there real quick, but I feel
Yeah,
like at some point he'll get a pretty good job somewhere. It's just
I
people
just
are waiting on it.
I don't think Helton leaves. Like, if he really wanted to leave, I think he would have left after his second or third year being at Kentucky or at WKU because I remember he took the job, I think back in 2019, or it was either 2018 or 2019, and everybody expected him to be gone after his first or second year, and now he's been there for 7 or 8 years, and I'm like, I'm happy he's staying there, but I'm like, I'm surprised at the same time.
Yeah, I would like him to stay there, but I do feel like just at some point, especially with the coaching cycle that's going to happen this year, like there's going to be some big firings. Like I feel like if a big time power four job offers, I feel like he may just I mean the money,
Yeah,
resources, all of that. It's just I mean for the betterment of himself, obviously it would suck to see him leave WKU,
yeah,
but I would like to be wrong though. I'd like to
yeah.
see that man stay at WKU forever.
Hey, maybe he'll go to good old Tulane. Wink, wink, wink.
Yeah, yeah. Hopefully he's got a fill-in spot at Tulane there.
Yeah, and then John Summerall comes to Kentucky. But like I said, we'll see what happens with this year with UK. Hopefully, Mark Stoops will prove everybody wrong, including me, 5-7 prediction. And then just talking more about UK's offense. Zach Calzada, of course, had his UK debut, but it wasn't the best. He went 10 for 23, only had 85 passing yards, of course, one interception, and also one rushing touchdown, and then you can't forget the safety he had. I'm like, why didn't he just hand the ball off to the running back in that situation? You're at the 2 yard line or whatever, and then, of course, he gets tackled in the end zone and leads to a safety.
Yeah, that play was yeah, extremely bad. There's really no
Yeah,
just covering up that, but I do think his numbers don't show it at all, but I feel like I was pretty pleased with like how he performed. Like there were some throws that like I mean the slant where he threw the pick.
yeah.
That was I mean that's on him a little bit because he should probably throw outside shoulder or just not throw that at all because it's very very close, but um I
Well,
mean, that was the receiver kind of gave up. I don't remember if it was Stellato. I don't remember who it was, but
I
they
think,
basically gave up on the route, eased up, and it allows the DB to just jump in and get it. Like that's
yeah,
not 100% Zach's fault. He probably
yeah.
shouldn't have thrown that, but yeah. Other than that, though, I think he played pretty solid. I think that there's obviously a chance that
Mhm.
Cutter ends up playing, maybe even this week, but I think there was a big like part of the fan base that was like, all right, I'm tired of it already. Like this
Yeah,
guy's just terrible. Let's move on to Cutter. I'm not ready to do that yet.
yeah.
It's one game, but
I'm not ready either. Of course, uh, Mark Stoops said it would have been like too early to pull the plug on Zach Calzada. He said that on Monday, I believe. If it wasn't Monday, it was right after the game on Saturday. But yeah, it definitely would have been too early to pull the plug on him. And I was more impressed by Calzada in the first half compared to his second half. Like, I felt like his second half, he was just trying to push things whenever he shouldn't have. He should have like thrown the easier passes. Like Mark Stoops said, he wants to have more layup passes for him to be able to, get completions and get more yardage and everything instead of trying to go for the home run throws every time. And I know he was trying to get the ball to the players, whatever it might be, but I just felt like we had too many home run throws in that second half, and he just looked completely off in that second half compared to the first.
yeah, I do think yeah he was definitely a little bit more like risky and probably should have chilled out a little bit with what he was trying to do, but um, I do think like he was leading the drive and hit Willie Rodriguez on the one that he fumbled on.
Yeah,
So there's another touchdown right there that probably maybe he would have thrown a touchdown in or something, but like that was moving the ball down the field
it
would have
was.
been more points.
Mhm.
So like I think overall like if we're sitting here and it's 31-16 or maybe even a different outcome a little bit around there. But like I think it was solid. Like you said, Stoops said it's too early to pull the plug. I think it's definitely too early. We'll I feel like we'll learn a lot this week in this Ole Miss game, just like because their defense is solid, but it's not going to be one of the top in the SEC this year. So
Yeah.
we're going to have to be able to move the ball against them, and that'll be kind of an indicator of what this offense is going to be like for the season.
Mhm.
I think for the most part. So I liked what I saw from Calzada. Didn't love it, but
Mhm.
I think there's a
Yeah.
there's a lot that he still has in his bag.
Well, on that first drive UK had, like, I was so impressed with that third down throw. I forgot who he hit, but basically, I think it was 3rd and 7, and then he got that first down. Like, the, I think it might have been a tight end or a wide receiver, but the player was going towards the sideline, so basically, he had to throw, across the field to get the ball towards the sidelines to hit the target to hit the player in. When he made that throw, I'm like, he can be a really great quarterback, this upcoming year, like what he did at Texas A&M. his freshman year. I'm like, he can really be a great quarterback if he can show out his tangibles like he did on that very first drive. And of course, he also hit JJ Hester for I thought should have been a completion, but of course,
Yeah.
after reviewing it, it was ruled incomplete. But I'm like, he's making these great passes, in the first half, and then there was another pass that he had. I think that this was in the second half, but for Josh Caddis, and sadly Josh Caddis couldn't, bring down that reception, and he could have easily lost the defender there in that situation. But I'm like, if we can just hit on a couple of these passes, like I feel like Calzada will be great this upcoming year along with our receivers.
Yeah, he definitely has a little check down Charlie to him where he's going to take like just some easy throws. But like you said, he made some very impressive throws that I think we'll get to see a lot of this year. So I am excited to just see him against obviously Toledo's good, but like Ole Miss will definitely be better competition.
Mhm,
Um, so I'm just excited to see like what he brings to that game, like just in general, because like this game, he probably had a little bit of like, all right, let's just play it safe till we get a good lead. Just his mentality was probably just let's slow it down early, get a lead, and then I'll air it out a little bit. But this week, it's like it's going to be what his mentality is going to be for this season.
mhm.
Really, where it's going to be, you're going to have to choose kind of what like style of play you're going to be, whether you're going to be taking all these risks or whether you're going to be a check down Charlie, like I mentioned. Like there's just going to be a lot that this Ole Miss game is going to show for us
Yeah.
for what Zach Calzada is going to be this year.
Yeah. And I was getting frustrated because we were running the ball. Of course, it was effective, but I mean, that's what fans were complaining about, 5, 6 years ago, that all we did was run and never pass. And I understand it. Like, whenever I think on one drive that we scored a touchdown, I believe we ran the ball 9 out of 10 times, something like that. And I'm like, can we pass the ball? Like I love to run and everything. I know it's working great, but I would love to see the passing game. And I think that made us go up, 24 to 9 at that time or something like that.
Yeah, that was definitely a big takeaway for sure. And I did like expect more of them like finding the receivers. Like I thought Kendrick Law was going to be more of a factor. Jamori Macklin didn't get a ton of touches. Like it was really the tight ends, which was
Yeah.
fun because we haven't seen tight ends get a whole lot of action in the last few years. But we did run it a lot. I mean,
Mhm.
both running backs played pretty good in my opinion. I do got to mention like McGowan runs harder than I think any humans ever run. Like he runs like Isaiah Pacheco. Like he runs
Yeah.
like he hates the
That's,
ground.
that's what a lot of people were saying, resemblance to Isaiah Pacheco. Uh,
Yeah, it's just he runs like he hates the ground or something. Like it's crazy. And then yeah, Dowdell was really good. So yeah, it makes sense. Like you said, the running was working.
mhm.
So that's definitely why they just stuck
Yeah.
with it. But
Yeah.
um yeah, it was definitely very apparent that we're gonna be running the ball a lot this year.
Yeah, you're right. And like I said, I was growing frustrated for sure. To talk about the running game, though, like you were mentioning, Dante Dow had 129 rushing yards and 1 touchdown. And then, of course, Seth McGowan had 78 rushing yards. And basically, they carried the load for UK. And I mean, I think you have to see it from both eyes, like our offensive line, I felt like it improved a lot compared to years past because the past couple of years, like we were playing against Youngstown State and they were able to get to Will Levis easily. I'm like, what's up with our offensive line? But I feel like our improved offensive line plus our running back room, I feel like it's going to be a dynamic duo as long as they can continue to do that. And of course, I felt also at the same time, our offensive line gave Zach Calzada, so much time in the pocket to try to find a receiver. Sadly, I don't think the receivers were getting open, so hopefully that can improve going forward. But I just feel a lot better with our offensive line compared to years past.
Yeah, other than the defensive line, the offensive line was my favorite part of that game. Like the defensive line was obviously crazy, but that offensive line, like you mentioned, they gave Zach a great pocket. They had incredible gaps just for the running backs to
Mhm,
fly into. So just the offensive line in general was so good. But yeah, the running backs, um, obviously, I feel like at some point we'll probably get to see more of Patterson as well. But like
mhm.
the duo that we have is awesome. I'm absolutely fired up for that duo this year. So the running game's gonna be fun, and so hopefully it's fun because we're gonna have a lot of it this
Yeah.
year.
And we'll see what happens with Jamarian Wilcox, because there that's the whole situation. Of course, he was suspended this past week against Toledo. I don't expect him to play against Ole Miss or in the near future, but we'll see what happens with him. I wish him the best, and hopefully, he can get back to playing eventually if he can.
Yeah, yeah, I would like to get him back for sure, but yeah, that whole situation, I'll probably just
Yeah.
not speak on it a whole lot. But
Yeah, we don't need to really talk about it. Just he was
yeah,
suspended for violating team rules. We'll just leave it at that. Of course, we both have, more info, but we really don't want to share that.
yeah, we can just talk football.
Yeah,
Yeah,
talk
we can stay
football.
away from all of that.
Yeah, but talking about the offensive side, let's talk about the defensive side and just how dominant Alex Safari was. I mean, they moved him to the inside position. This upcoming year, he had 13 tackles, which is insane. I was thinking to myself, good Lord, like he's one of the best defensive players we currently have. And then I think Devin Rayner was the second most with 9 tackles, I believe. I'm thinking to myself, like Rayner and Afari are going to, tear people up this upcoming year.
Yeah, they're gonna be those dudes all year. And Alex Safari, like you said, he was just balling. Like he looks like through game one, looks like he's gonna be like a first round pick. Like
Mm,
he looks like he's gonna be that guy this year that's gonna be the high draft pick for us. But yeah, David Rayner was really good. Just the
mm,
defense as a whole was awesome. I
yeah.
mean, the pass rush was crazy, obviously, but
Mm,
yeah, just the defense entirely. Because I was a little worried about the secondary, just because there. I mean, there's not a whole lot of returners like
yeah.
there's obviously a few that'll help kind of stable that. But I was a little worried about the secondary, just
Mm,
a touch and the linebacker game. But like the defense entirely just stunned me with how good they were. I thought they'd be good, but
mm.
not this good. That was a very, very good outing for them.
Yeah, and we can't forget Alex Safari's huge fourth down stop. That was insane. Like, things could have changed differently if UK doesn't get that fourth down stop, towards their end zone. Of course, it led to the safety with Zach Calzada, but, I'd rather give up 2 points compared to giving up a touchdown.
Oh yeah, no doubt. That defensive stop had me fired up.
Yeah,
That fourth down, man, that was awesome. So
yeah.
yeah, Alex Safari was incredible.
At that time, I was getting lunch with my girlfriend in Chicago, so I was just sitting down watching the game. I'm like, let's go. We got that fourth down stop. And then I go a few minutes later, we just got safety. And my
Yeah.
girlfriend's like, what happened?
Yeah. Yeah, that was a blessing and a curse for sure.
Yeah.
That stop was awesome, but it ended up being a little sad to see that
Yeah.
safety. But
But what's one player I love that's I think he's actually only a sophomore. I think he didn't redshirt last year, so I believe he is a sophomore, but I love Steven Souls. He had 2 strip sacks against Toledo. I'm like, dang, this player is so good, and he's only a sophomore, and he's only going to get better. I'm thinking to myself, hopefully Mark Stoops doesn't get fired because I'm like, I don't want to lose him, or hopefully we can pay him however much we need to pay Steven Sos because like he's one of the best players that, it's only a sophomore.
yeah, hey, sack 'em souls, man. He played really, really good. He was definitely one of the big takeaways for the defense this year. And like you said, only a sophomore. Yeah, he's special. I'm excited for him this year.
Yeah, and who knew he would be this good this early on?
Yeah, I did not expect it, but man, he looks the part so far. He looks incredible early on his sophomore year.
Yeah, and I think our young players, will be great for the future. Of course, you've got Cutter Boley and then Willie Rodriguez. You can't forget about him, what he did last year as a true freshman. He's, of course, now a sophomore, but he doesn't even look like a sophomore. I mean, last year he didn't look like a freshman. He looked like already an upperclassman, like a junior or a senior, just with his body and everything. But I'm going to be really impressed, I think, with this younger class, moving on to once they become juniors or seniors.
Yeah, yeah. Willie Rodriguez, like you said, that dude he's a senior trapped in a sophomore's body. Like he just or I guess a sophomore trapped in a senior's body because he just looks huge. Like he fits the SEC tight ends. But you mentioned the young guys. Montavian Quisenberry is a dude I'm excited about. He's
Yeah.
going to be special at UK. He's going
Yeah,
to be fun.
could become the next Wandale Robinson, hopefully. Like, that's what I'm praying for.
Yeah, yeah. Hopefully so. That would be awesome
Yeah.
if he ends up being anything close to that.
Yeah, and then just talking a little bit more about the defense, JQ Hardaway, of course, he also had that interception to, begin the game as well, and that was key as well for Kentucky. I was really impressed with Kentucky basically through the first three quarters, and then of course the fourth quarter I was a little bit let down. They gave up, a 95-yard drive in the fourth to Toledo, and I was definitely a little disappointed in that. Of course, it might be because they were a little tired because they were on the field for a majority of the game, but I was definitely not, impressed with that 95-yard drive that Toledo had.
Yeah, no, they picked up the pace a little bit and they got to work. That was not a fun drive to see because it just felt like it never ended. And early on, we were able to stop them on
Mhm.
third down and stuff. But dude, that drive they just moved the ball however they wanted. It felt like.
Yeah. And the one thing that worries me is because Toledo went up tempo basically on that drive, and Ole Miss will do that as well this upcoming game, and it just makes me nervous because I'm like last year, the very first drive I felt like UK was just gassed defensively because of how fast Ole Miss went, and they're going to do that again this upcoming game, and I'm just a little nervous about that because usually our defense doesn't do well with up tempo offense.
Yeah, we might have to do the Tennessee special and just fake a few flops here and there. But yeah, like you said, Toledo picked it up a little bit. Went up tempo, went NASCAR. It was crazy. Yeah, they moved the ball very well then. And like you said, Ole Miss is going to be just very similar to that. So it's not going to be fun, but I hope our defense can do it similar to last year where we were able to just kind of take them out of their rhythm. And last year it did feel like
Mhm.
that was definitely one of Jackson's worst games because, like, I think the pressure that we brought was really, really good.
Yeah,
So hopefully we can put a ton of pressure on Austin Simmons
yeah,
this year and force him into a bunch of bad throws.
yeah. And basically, after the first drive, like UK's defense just did insanely well against Ole Miss. Of course, they got some key defensive stops, and then there was also a fumble that Ole Miss had. So whoops, sorry. So hopefully, just things will go well for UK. Defense can just wreak some havoc on their offense with Austin Simmons being the quarterback, and then their running back, wide receivers just calls interceptions, calls fumbles, calls tackles for losses or sacks as well. Like just gotta play great defensively, like you did against Toledo and like you did last year against Ole Miss as well.
Yeah, yeah, like you said, like the defense is gonna have to step up big time because I don't think there's a world where we're beating Ole Miss in a shootout by any means.
Yeah.
So it'll be interesting to see the yeah, Austin Simmons, we're gonna have to put a bunch of pressure on him. But that running back that they have, Lacey, was really, really good last week. He was kind of their standout. I think he ended up with 108 yards as a sophomore. But he's gonna be one to watch. Just I mean, Chip trained him for Toledo, had decent runs right off rip. I'm
Yeah.
hoping we can stop Lacey and not let him get going at all
Yeah.
for the Rebels.
Yeah, and I think we can, now stop talking about Toledo and now focus more on Ole Miss. And right now, Ole Miss, they are 9.5 point favorites, and I would probably, bet on Ole Miss covering the spread. We can, of course, talk about score predictions later on, but yeah, they just killed Georgia State this past week. They won 63-7, and now we wonder how big of a test is this for Kentucky this upcoming week.
Yeah, the I know like notoriously the Lane Kiffin era, they've scheduled some really, 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 really bad G5 teams. So
Yeah.
I'm hoping that's the case. I don't know how good they'll end up being, but yeah, they did look really good. And I mean Austin Simmons he threw two picks, I think, but
Mhm.
yeah, Wallace, the Penn State transfer looked really good. Like I said, Lacey looked really good. They moved the ball a ton. And I mean Simmons looked great. And then I know somebody it might have been KSR put it out about the thing of them mentioning like they're gonna mention it on the broadcast how he's like so young and he's already
Uh,
graduated and all this stuff.
yeah.
Like, dude, that game, I mean, they mentioned it three, four times. They mentioned it last year, I remember, in the Georgia game when he checked in. I was like, dude, there's like they're beating the crap out of this. I ended up commenting on that post. I was like, yeah, it's their version of Willie Cauley Stein
Probably
played
not.
football.
I did see your tweet with that. Yeah.
Yeah,
But
it's gonna be like that. So we'll have to get used to that. But
yeah.
it's a very good offense, but last year was one of the best offenses in the country, and we beat them on their home field. So
Hey, Cameron, Did you know Austin Simmons already has his bachelor's degree at the age of
No, I
19?
had no idea. Had no idea.
Had no idea. Yeah, it's going to definitely be annoying. Hopefully they don't mention it too much though.
Yeah, hopefully only like 7 times. Like,
Only 7 times, yeah. No biggie. But no, I mean, last year, Ole Miss had an insanely great offense going into the Kentucky game. And then, of course, Kentucky was their first, actual big matchup, SEC matchup. And then their offense was basically a standstill. They moved the ball, of course, a little bit, but not too much. I mean, I think UK won, what, 20-17 last year, something like that. They won by a field goal, I know. But yeah, I mean, Ole Miss offense wasn't the best last year against UK, and it was also UK's only lone SEC win as well. Like that's hard to believe, too.
yeah, no, that being the only SEC win just still blows my mind. Like, because that
Yeah,
was a really good team. Like, they were literally a playoff team if they just beat us. So
yeah,
it's crazy. But yeah, like you said, we were able to slow them down last year, and I mean, if history tells us anything, then the game will be close because all
yeah,
the games, like you said earlier before we were filming, every game's within a touchdown or something out of
yeah,
the last like four or five.
yeah. I
Uh,
think everything's been within 10 points in the last 4 games, I believe. They,
Yeah, like so they've all been close. Like the
Mhm.
the one the COVID year, that one hurt because we lost like 42-41 or something. Like, it was something
Yeah,
crazy, but
that
yeah,
one.
that the
Yeah,
games have been very close recently. So we'll see what this one can be like. Like I said, if history tells us anything, it'll be a very close game, and we'll cover that spread. But
I
like I
don't.
said, yeah, no, yeah, you don't think that. Most of America doesn't think that we'll cover that spread. I think the thing that definitely helps me think that that will probably be the outcome where we don't cover that is the fact that Lane Kiffin still has not let go of last year. He
Yeah,
is absolutely ticked the
yeah,
bet. And he said this is the only game that kind of just sits on his mind. Like this
yeah,
game haunts him that we beat them last year. So
yeah. And then Mark Stoops also said in his press conference on Monday that, Lane Kiffin's like main thing is to score every drive he gets the ball in. Basically, I mean, I think that's the point for everybody's team, but Lane Kiffin desires that with his team because of how his offense is played. It's always so high tempo and it's usually always high scoring for him, and we just gotta stop them offensively. But yeah, somebody asked Mark Stoops saying like, with Lane Kiffin wanting revenge, like will he try to just beat the brakes off of Kentucky. And Stoops was like, he's going to try and score every possession, and that's what we're trying to do as well.
yeah, we're gonna have to keep up with them offensively, but yeah, hopefully the defense can lock in at big time in that one. So
Mhm.
uh yeah, it'll be interesting to see. But we I don't know if we have any Barry on Brown plays in us this year, so hopefully it doesn't come down to that if we're in a close one. But yeah, I'm excited for the game entirely. I mean, they're like playing Ole Miss is like solving a riddle. It's like right when you like feel like you're about to get it, like they're
Mhm.
just there's something else. Like they'll spread it out. They'll run pistols on. They'll run stuff out of the gun. Like they have everything offensively that's legal to do. They run it.
Mhm.
So it'll be fun. It'll be interesting to see.
Yeah, it would definitely be interesting to see. And I think you also have to consider this as well. Going back to Austin Simmons, this is his first really true road test at the age of 19. How will he handle the pressure of Kroger Field with 50,000 fans?
Yeah. The absolute terrifying sight of Kroger Field. You know how people talk about it. So yeah,
Yeah,
it'll be cool. He will have to deal with some of that though. Like the crowd does get loud.
yeah.
And I'm hoping obviously last week didn't do a ton for the like inspiring part of the
Mhm.
fan base, but yeah, I'm hoping it'll be a good crowd. I won't be able to make it sadly, but
Same here.
yeah, it'll be fun. We'll see how that game goes.
Hey, you know what? It's going to be rowdy compared to last week's game against Toledo
What's that?
because UK is bringing back Grove Street Park.
Oh, true. That's right. Yeah, we didn't even mention that. They didn't play Grocery last week. It's
Yeah,
crazy.
yeah, it's going to definitely be jam-packed with the Grove Street party. I got a whole lot of money.
Yeah,
Woo!
we can't say the rest. Yeah,
Yeah,
we
can't say
can't.
the rest.
Yeah, can't say the rest. But I am glad Grocery's back because like it's our only thing really. Like it's like all we really have. So I'm glad it's back.
Yeah, I think that would definitely light up the crowd for sure. I mean, UK versus Florida, this was back in 23, I believe, with Devin Leary. I was at that game in the press box because I was doing it with Media A Sea of Blue. But I could hear the crowd from the press box. Of course, sometimes you can, sometimes you can't, just depending on how loud the crowd is. And I'm thinking to myself, we need that type of crowd against Ole Miss. And the most important thing as well is the blue and white game as well. So look, if you're going to the game, see what section you're in, see if you're on the blue section or the white section, and of course, wear blue or white if you're going to the game.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, go check that out if you're going to that game and see what you're supposed to wear for your section. But that is cool that you were in the box for that game though. That was the Ray Davis game. That was an awesome
Yeah,
game.
like that game, just him going insane. I will never forget for sure.
Yeah, that'd be a sick game to go to. But yeah, the I think we were both there at the 2021 game where they did the split with the blue and white. And that game ended up being awesome. The crowd was one of the best that I've heard for Kroger Field. So, yeah, the 2021 Florida game, hopefully we can replicate that type of. Obviously, this one's an earlier game. That was a night game, but
Yeah.
yeah, hopefully the crowd's awesome.
I wasn't there at that game, but I did watch it in Bowling Green. I was trying to go as a media member for that UK Florida game back in 21, but I applied too late. I applied like on a Tuesday, and apparently you're supposed to apply like on Mondays, so
Oh yeah, so you
early.
just ended up barely missing it.
Yeah, barely missing it by a day. And of course, they still had COVID restrictions then where they could only allow, a certain amount of media to be at the games as well.
Yeah, that game was fun. That game was an
I
absolute
bet it
blast.
was. I remember watching it at Double Dogs and Bowling Green. Good times.
Yeah, I remember that game. I stormed the field with a buddy, and my phone died, and I lost my friend. Like he was just like gone. So I was like, oh no, I might be just cooked. But then I do remember I still have selfies from that game. I got a selfie with on the field after it was Oscar, Xavier Wheeler, Bryce Hopkins. Like there's not too many that I think have Bryce Hopkins selfies, but
Yeah.
yeah, I will have that forever.
Yeah, you'll have that forever. I mean, like I said, you went to a great game, and I'm glad you were able to go, and I'm glad I was able to watch it at least on television. Wasn't busy.
Yeah, 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 seeing that game at Double Dogs, you'll have that memory forever.
Yeah.
Yeah, that game was
I
awesome.
I recorded basically the last play where Jaxson Jones knocked the ball down, after I forgot who the Florida quarterback was, but he knocked down the pass and basically the whole double dogs crowd just screamed and everything and everybody was so happy.
Yeah, that game was awesome. Yeah, Jacquez Jones. Was that Emory Jones? Was he the
Emory
quarterback?
Jones, yes.
Emory Jones.
And
Okay,
then
yeah,
he
yeah.
went to
Yep.
UC, I remember, after that.
Oh, that's right. I forgot it. I forgot he went to play for Satterfield.
Yep, and then of course, Dan Mullins also got fired basically after that game. Of course, he didn't exactly get fired after that game, but after that season, he got fired.
Yeah, yeah. I do. I mean, I wish Dan Mullen the best of luck. I always liked Dan Mullen, but UNLV's had not the best start in the world this year for
Hey,
Dan
they're
Mullen.
2-0 though,
They are 2-0. Yeah, yeah.
just,
Numbers don't lie. So 2-0.
just like UK. It's 1-0, and they have a better record compared to Alabama and also Texas.
Yeah, yeah. UNLV is better than Texas. That's what it is.
And
But yeah, Dan Mullen, I always liked him. I always liked him at Mississippi State. I liked him at Florida. Obviously, I liked him at Florida because we actually just started beating them. But
yeah,
I think he was a pretty good coach, though. I was kind
yeah,
of upset when he got fired.
yeah. He just can't recruit. Like that's the main issue.
Yeah, but I mean, now they're getting recruits and not winning a whole lot. I hope this year's different because I like Billy Napier. But
Yeah.
yeah, they traded out the recruiting for the lack of coaching a little bit. But
Yeah. And then going back to Ole Miss now, not to get off topic or anything previously, but going back to Ole Miss, they added 32 scholarship transfers. Of course, Kentucky in total added from high school and transfers. It was 50 new players to this year's roster. And of course, for Ole Miss, 19 of those 32 players saw heavy snaps in week one. Do you think that makes them dangerous or more vulnerable to chemistry issues, going into this game?
I would say chemistry issues, but I think it's more of just like who they added because last year they had like the best transfer class
Yeah.
in the country. This year wasn't bad,
Mhm.
but it wasn't the same.
Mhm.
So this year I do expect them to maybe have some chemistry issues, but just talent wise, they're going to be down this year for sure.
Yeah, I agree with you on that. And I think talking more about the Ole Miss and Georgia State game. Georgia State, they rushed for 191 yards versus Ole Miss, and I could see both Dante Dow and Seth McGowan just having a crazy game against Ole Miss if we can continue to block with the offensive line because I know run blocking and pass blocking are two completely different things, but as long as we can continue to do both well, like I could see just the our running backs going crazy against Ole Miss and, running for 200, 250 plus yards. And, if we don't have a great passing game, but we have a great running game and we win, that's the main thing.
Yeah, yeah, no doubt. No matter how we have to win, if we win this game, it's going to be absolutely incredible. And we might see an all-time Lane Kiffin crash out if they end up dropping another game to Kentucky. He'll be so mad.
Yeah. Could we have another Ray Day type of performance with either Dow or McGowan?
That would be awesome. If either of them. But I just love our two-headed monster. They just bring you two different styles of running. So hopefully they do, like you said, run all over Ole Miss and just carry us to a victory this week.
Yeah, that would be great if we could. For sure. Sorry about my cough and everybody. I apologize, but
All good. It's that time of the year.
it's that type of
Yeah.
yeah. I definitely got a little sick after Chicago. I think it was because of the cold weather from being outside at Soldier Field forever.
Yeah. Yeah. What was the temperature at
It
that
was probably
concert?
like low 60s if I had to
Oh,
guess.
then that ain't too bad. But yeah, I'd probably get a little chilly.
Yeah, a little chilly. I luckily I had, uh, a top where I could put over me like a hoodie, sweater. So I was happy I brought that to the concert to stay warm.
Yeah, that was very, yeah, good
Yeah.
planning on your
And
part.
then my girlfriend, she bought a hoodie at that concert. You know how much that cost to keep her
I'm
warm?
gonna I'm gonna guess. I'm gonna guess it was $90.
No, it wasn't that expensive, but
Okay, all right.
you're
$60, something like
no,
that.
you're closer with your 90 guess.
Oh, closer with the 90. Okay, it was like
Yeah.
80 something.
Yeah, $80.
Yeah, no, that's crazy. But
I know.
anything to get the Lumineers name on it, right?
Yeah, well, she only did it because she was cold, and of course, I didn't bring, another jacket for her or something for her to wear. But yeah, she's like, I had to stay warm. I can't be too.
Yeah. Hey, now you know for future reference, just bring you an extra whenever you go to a
Yeah,
concert.
you're not wrong. Yeah, I actually guessed, $50 at first, but then she's like, go up, up. I'm like, okay, 80, and finally got to 80, but I'm like, gosh dang, that's so expensive.
Yeah, no, 80's a lot, but
Yeah,
was it a cool hoodie at least though?
it was all right. It's their latest album cover. Like, like the TV screens when they go like with the bar, like
Oh
pink.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Basically that's like their album cover.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that'd be pretty cool then.
Yeah. Uh but it'll be interesting to also see if Zach Calzada can handle, the Ole Miss defensive pressure as well, like going into week 1 to week 2. And I know Mark Stoops has also hammered this, but he always sees big improvements with his team going from week 1 to week 2. Of course, I don't think we saw that because I believe we played somebody no-name team and then went to South or played against South Carolina at Kroger Field and that game was awful. I'm pretty sure that was week 2, right?
Yeah, that was week 2 last year. That one was no fun. No
Yeah.
fun at all.
Yeah, it definitely wasn't fun. So, but Mark Stoops says he does see improvements from week 1 to week 2, and hopefully that's the case going to the Ole Miss game.
Yeah, hopefully that's the case because if we have a much better, much more improved offense with that same defense, I mean we're right there in this game for sure. So I don't know. Like you said, you think you would bet the Ole Miss covering that spread. I don't really know where I would lean as of right now because I know Stoops seems right when you least expect them to. That's when they come strike defensively, all that stuff. So I don't really know where I would lean yet, but I think it's gonna be a fun game. I think we'll end up battling for at least a good part of it. I think.
Yeah, and then of course the big thing going into this game is UK has lost 7 straight SEC home games, and basically you have to break the streak because you can't lose 8 straight home games on your field when you should be winning. And I think the last time we got that win was against Florida back in 23, like with Ray Davis, Devin Leary. I'm pretty sure that's our last SEC home win, which is very sad to think about.
Yeah, that feels like ages ago, but I think you're right. That was our last one. So, I mean, yeah, we need to get back on track, win us another one, and Ole Miss would be the best way to get that rolling.
Yeah. Uh, it's going to be very interesting. I know Lane Kiffin said this about Zach Calzada, basically saying he is very talented. We are going to have to rush the passer, stop the run, and try to go on the road and get a win. And basically, just saying that he's very talented, and he's very smart and savvy. So basically, I mean, you should be smart and savvy being a 70-year quarterback.
Yeah, no doubt. And yeah, I mean, Joe Flacco. That's our guy. That's who we have slinging the ball back there. Both
Yeah.
number five. So hopefully you can be just a shade of Joe Flacco on Saturday against the Rebels.
Yeah, if you don't get the reference, basically, Lane Kiffin compares Zach Calzada to Joe Flacco because of how old he is. I mean, Lane Kiffin called him a 10th year quarterback. I'm like, he's not that old just yet for college football.
Yeah, no, we've seen much worse. We had Cam McCormick last year, who was like in his ninth year. So
Yeah.
yeah, we've seen much worse. Calzada's got a little season into him. That's how I would describe it.
Yeah, little season, but like I said, or like you said, if UK can just have a little shade of Joe Flacco, like with Zach Calzada, then I believe UK will be perfectly just fine going to the Ole Miss game.
Yeah, I think I would take a little Joe Flacco in this game for sure.
Yeah, and I think the over under for passing yards for him is 123, I believe. So I think if UK needs to win this game, or if they want to win this game, he needs to at least pass for 200 or 250 yards, in my opinion.
Yeah, definitely. He's gonna have to get up there in yards, or the
Mhm.
running game's gonna have to be even better than what it was in week one. Because I mean, there's gonna have to be something like
Yeah.
just really good offensively for us.
Yeah. And a couple more things that I want to bring up. I don't know if you saw the Stoops, but a fan called into his radio show and asked him how motivated he was going to the Ole Miss game. And you could tell Stoops got very, frustrated, upset from just the fan asking that joke. And, Mark Stoops didn't even say I'm motivated. He's like, pretty much, I feel the same as I did last year going to the game, like, of course I am. And he didn't even use the word motivated.
Yeah, yeah, no doubt. That was yeah, no, that was wild for a fan to call in and ask that. That was crazy. I would never call in and ask him that, but I kind of wish Stoops would just lean into it a little bit. Like
Yeah,
I wish he'd go with the motivated thing. I think it's kind of funny, and obviously he is motivated. That's like how the whole thing started, but then it became a meme. Like it's not as bad as what I think he thinks it is.
yeah. And, I've talked to people around the football program, and every time I've mentioned it to them, they're like, he hates it. Yeah, he hates it so much.
Yeah, no, I mean I could get where if he from one perspective where I could see where he would hate it, but I wish he would just lean into it and just
Yeah.
and just go ride with it a little bit.
Yeah, the availability report just came out, by the way, everybody, and UK actually has three players out, and it's actually none of the players that we were thinking about, but um, they aren't really, key players that are out, so that's good for now. But the players are defensive lineman Nick Smith, which I don't think he's gotten a lot of playing time, and then we're out two wide receivers right now with David Washington Jr. and Preston Bowman, so two wide receivers being out, like it's not the greatest, but at least we don't rely on, those two players. And then going forward with the availability report, you've got questionable or doubtful. We'll go with doubtful next with DJ Miller. So another player that will probably, miss the UK Ole Miss game. So we might be down three wide receivers going to that game. Of course, there's going to be updates throughout the week, but having three wide receivers down isn't the best.
No, yeah, certainly not. But yeah, as long as there's not, massive names, then obviously
Yeah,
we'll be all right. But yeah, I mean, it's just in week two now, and there wasn't any major things last week, so
yeah.
um, yeah, hopefully there's not. I mean, like you said, there's not a ton of takeaways really from the.
Yeah, and then the questionable players and probable. So questionable, you've got Jamarian Wilcox, which I'm surprised he's listed as that with everything that's going on with him. And then Aba Selm, he's questionable offensive lineman. Probable. I can't get it. Probable. You've got defensive back DJ Waller Jr. and then of course you've got as well defensive lineman McQueese Humphrey Grace, and he was listed day to day. But if both players are listed probable, I would say more than likely they're going to play. Of course, like I said, there's going to be updates on Thursday, Friday, and then 90 minutes before the kickoff on Saturday. So we'll see, what other players get added to this availability report. But like I said, I'm surprised with some of these players being listed on here.
Yeah, yeah, no doubt. I mean, there's definitely a few shocks for sure. Um, but I mean, we'll see. McQueen Humphrey Grace, that one's a little. noteworthy. I feel like, yeah, that one
ankle
I would
injury.
like to have him, but
Yeah.
yeah, I think we'll be all right. We'll have
Mhm.
basically a full squad for this Ole Miss game.
Yeah, and then to just wrap up this podcast, we're going to do score predictions for the Ole Miss game, and then we'll talk a little bit about basketball news. Not too much, but we'll talk about that. Let's get into score predictions. So right now the spread is 9.5 points. Ole Miss's favor. So I'm going to go with my prediction. I'll say UK keeps it, somewhat close, but I do believe Ole Miss will win this game, and they will also cover. So. I'll go with I'll go with 31 to 20 Ole Miss. That's my prediction.
Okay, I like it. I also have them keeping it close, and if it's a 9.5 spread, I'm sure some gambling sites have different spreads or whatever. But if it's a 9.5 spread, I guess this prediction would have them covering. I'll go 27-17. Hotty toddy, they come into Lex and win that game. But hopefully we're both wrong. That
Yeah,
would be the best outcome for sure.
yeah. Hopefully we're both wrong, and of course UK gets the win. But like I said, it'll be definitely an interesting matchup. First, road environment for the Ole Miss quarterback Austin Simmons. So we'll see what he does. We'll see what Calzada can do in his first true SEC test since returning back to the SEC. So I'm excited to see what he can do along with the rest of the team, and hopefully UK can win.
Yeah, that would be very ideal for sure if we could get a win right here, get the season rolling the right
Yeah.
way. But yeah, like you said, Zach Calzada getting back to the SEC. This is what he came back for. I mean, he
Yeah.
said he wants to get back into the SEC, and that's why he committed to Kentucky over other schools that were offering. So,
Yeah.
yeah, hopefully he balls out in his first game back.
Yeah. And if UK goes 2-0, I feel like anything can happen after this game. Like I feel like they could easily go, 8-4, 9-3 if they can defeat Ole Miss, but we'll see about that.
Yeah, we'll see about that. I mean, I'm pretty sure I had this as an L when we did like our full season predictions or
Yeah.
whatever. But yeah, if we were to win this one. Man, yeah, the dreams start getting pretty high if we could go ahead and snag this one.
Yeah. Well, we'll end up with this podcast talking a little bit about basketball news. Of course, Andrea Yelovich, he's been on campus for the past week, 2 weeks, however long it's been, but it was cool to see him in that photo, finally officially practicing with the team. So I'm excited to see what Yelovich can do. And then, of course, I'm excited to see what Jaden Quaintance can do once he comes back from his injury.
Yeah, the just the whole all the pictures that came out today, just like having the whole squad back, getting the band back together, man, it was awesome. Like you said, Yelovich being back, good reports early for him. So
Yeah.
yeah, getting to see the whole gang back together, it was awesome.
Yeah, it was definitely awesome. And then just to end the podcast, recruitment notes, Mark Pope, as soon as midnight struck, he was already visiting Taylor Kinney. So that's interesting that UK is still targeting him. Of course, the two main targets for UK for the point guard position are Taylor Kinney. He's from Northern Kentucky. Of course, he plays now for Overtime Elite in Atlanta. And then the other player they've been targeting is Deron Rippey Jr. So both players are going to be great, but if you told me to pick one of the two, I'd rather have Deron Rippey. And I don't know if you all saw the photo of Mark Pope and the staff with Deron Rippey, but it was cool to see Rippey holding up the cat and like the cat loving Mark Pope in that picture.
Yeah, no doubt. That picture was awesome. I mean, yeah, that picture was just amazing. But like you said, out of the two, I would definitely go Deron Rippey
Yeah.
for sure. Both of them are great players, but I would definitely lean
Mhm.
Deron in
Yeah,
that.
and I can't believe though, visiting right at midnight with seeing Taylor and Kenny, like that's insane. Just, a school night, seeing the player immediately.
Yeah, I mean, school night technically, but
School
those
night.
dudes are yeah, those dudes down there at Overtime and Leader, they're on a different type of schedule for
Yeah,
sure.
they are for sure. They're mainly focused on playing basketball, getting better. And then of course some other players that the staff went to see Mark Pope. They went to see both Jordan Smith and Baba Doton. I don't know how to pronounce his last name, but he went to see both of them during practice. So it's interesting that UK is still going after Jordan Smith whenever everybody thinks he's going to Duke or maybe, even potentially Arkansas. But it's interesting that Mark Pope still is, talking to all these recruits when we've heard, Taylor Kinney is probably going to either Louisville or Kansas or for Jordan Smith, more than likely Duke.
Yeah, yeah, it is interesting that he's going after Jordan Smith for sure because it does feel like he's either a Duke or Arkansas lock. But yeah, they're still pursuing a lot of these guys, man.
Yeah,
It's cool to see.
pursuing all top 10 players basically. But
Yeah, no doubt. Yeah, he's going after just all the best guys.
yeah, but I don't think we have anything else to talk about unless you do. But another great podcast, another hour over an hour long podcast, and we appreciate you all watching and listening, of course.
Yeah, thank you all for tuning in. It was fun. As always, got to talk a little 1-0 talk, but then looking forward to week 2 as well. So
And
we'll
we
be back next week, and yeah, it's been fun.
Yeah, it's been a lot of fun, but yeah, congrats to Lee Corso on his retirement, and hopefully everybody has a great rest of their week, and hopefully we come back next week and UK is 2-0, and they shock Ole Miss, upset Ole Miss at Kroger Field. That would be like unbelievable if that happens.
Yeah, that would be awesome. We're definitely not the favorite, but maybe a little underdog story, and we get the dub this week.
Yeah. All right. Thank you all for watching on YouTube and of course listening on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. But this is Chris Beesmore, and
Cameron Waddle.
we're signing out. Everybody have a great week.
Yep. See y'all.